Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Vann Underwood Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I'm checking out a 2017 Dodge Challenger in the RT trim level. Now, this vehicle has several optional upgrades, including the Super Track Pack, so lots of cool stuff to show off. So let's go ahead and get started. This RT is sitting on 245/45 ZR20 Goodyear Eagle tires, wrapped around 20-inch Hyper Black alloy wheels. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated disc rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is TorRed, and to me, muscle cars and sports cars always look good in red. So you can see it has a satin or a matte black theme here on the front or around the vehicle, starting here with the dual hood scoops. It kind of matches the grille here with the split portions here on the grille, matching the 1971 Dodge Challenger. And it follows through here at the very bottom with the splitter. Now the headlights, this one has the upgraded HID headlights in the projector housing for your low and your high beams. It also has an LED halo around both of those portions, LED turn signals, and a projector halogen powered fog light at the bottom. This is what the key looks like. It's a proximity key system, and it's designed to where you can just keep it in your pocket and you can use the vehicle 100% without taking it out of your pocket or a bag. It also has these buttons here, lock and unlock, the ability to pop open the trunk, and a remote start and a panic button. Okay, let's take a look at the profile of the vehicle. Really consistent with the classic Challengers from the early 70s. So as long as I have the key in my pocket, I can walk up to the door, I can lock the door by pushing this button, and I can unlock it simply by putting my hand under the handle. This only works on this particular side when I have this key on this side. If I go to the other side, it'll work on that door. So it's a proximity key. It senses the key within a close proximity of the vehicle and allows you to access the vehicle. It can also tell whether the key is inside the trunk. So if you try to lock the key in the trunk, it'll just pop the trunk open, or inside the front of the vehicle, so it can kind of tell where the key is. So here's the inside of the passenger door, all soft to the touch from here all the way down. Right in here is a cloth portion, and then you have like a vinyl with the contrast stitching, little pocket right in here as a handle. There's your exit handle and a bottle holder. This one does have the premium Alpine sound system with 6 speakers, 276 wattage as far as the power of the radio. There's a threshold, manually adjusted seat here on the passenger side. Now this one has the cloth seating, so you can see it has the contrast stitching, a little bit of more of a textured center portion of the cloth with a pattern. And these seats are pretty comfortable, and you have plenty of room. Now this seat's pulled up quite a ways, but let's go ahead and pull it back to give you an idea. I'm going to leave all the measurements and everything in the description, but just to kind of give you a visual reference of how much room you have here in the front. Little storage pocket there. You also have a 12-volt power supply that turns on and off with the ignition, and a lockable glove compartment. And it's felt lined down here, but it has these shelves right up in here to kind of add to your storage space, and as a divider as well. Entering the second row seat, it does have kind of a limited, let me move the seat belt out of the way, limited amount of space back there. So I'm able to utilize the back seat even with front passengers, but you can see where the back seat can be very limited depending on the front passenger. So you're going to have to compromise on the front seat to have some room here in the back typically. It does have an armrest there in the center with some cup holders, like so. It also has the latch system for car seats. And there is vents for the climate control for the rear passengers. Kind of even out the air inside the vehicle as well. Okay, looking at the back of the vehicle, it has the little shark fin antenna at the very top, sticking up. It has the truck lid spoiler with the backup camera in the very center position. It also has complete LED taillights for your turn signals, everything. Parking sensors across the back. Here in this black portion, kind of hidden in there. You also have the blind spot monitor system, and the indicators are in the side mirrors. Now the blind spot monitor system also serves as the blind spot or the rear cross path detection system. So as you're backing out of a parking space, if you can't see around the vehicles next to you, which is very possible with the blind spots here in the back of the vehicle, it will help out with letting you know if there's a vehicle coming in the appropriate direction. Okay, so it has the dual exhaust. Completely true dual exhaust, as you saw in the very beginning of the video. Now would actually be a good time to demonstrate the remote start since we're back here. To open up the trunk, you can use the key, little button here on the key, or there's a button on the inside of the vehicle, or you could just push this button right directly under the backup camera. It's right in there. So push that and pop it open, and it goes up pretty much by itself once you get it started. So plenty of trunk space back here. Like I said, I'm going to leave the actual measurements and volumes and all that stuff in the description, but hopefully this will give you a good visual reference to how much actual space is in here and how wide open it is. And also, if you need some more space, you can put these seats down. You can see it's a 60-40 split, so you can add to your cargo space. And you notice everything up here is covered up and nice and tidy. There's no loose wires or speaker magnets hanging down or anything like that. Okay, so under this, lift this up. It does have a spare tire, compact spare tire, which is nice. Now if you get the next sound group up where it has the subwoofers under here, then it will take away your spare tire, but it will give you a tire inflator kit, basically. You see, look at the battery, it's in here as well. That helps out with the weight distribution of the vehicle and also keeping the battery out of you know, the extreme weather and heat conditions. Fuel door is here on the driver's side. Check it out, it has that chrome cap in a position similar to the 1971. Actually, the 1971 is on the passenger side, but this is you know, simulating that style, and also you know, a little bit more convenient since it's on the driver's side. Now you can check out my channel for a brief overview of a 1971 Challengers, just so you can see the difference here. So it has a traditional cap with a little tether system and a place to hang the tether as you're pumping gas away from the vehicle. As long as you have the key in your pocket or inside the vehicle somewhere, to start it up, you just put your foot on the brake, hold it, and push this button. Now with the automatic transmission vehicles, you don't have to hold the button in to start it, but if it's a manual transmission, you do have to hold the button in and wait for it to start before you release the button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now the floor mat hooks in place in 2 places, keeping it from sliding around on you. And there's your accelerator and brake pedal. You also have a footrest here on the left side, right just behind the foot actuated parking brake. So let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. To open the hood is really easy. There's a latch here right in the center, and you just kind of move it to the left. It takes very little effort to get the hood up, and it goes the rest of the way up by itself. So you can see the hood scoops actually allow the air to flow into the engine compartment. Alright, so here's the engine compartment, and you can see that the battery is not under here. You should remember that's in the trunk area. Firewall is completely insulated. You also have that brace that goes from here to the other side, bracing both of the strut tower portions. So under this big plastic cover, there is an engine. It's a 5.7 liter V8, 375 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed TorqueFlite automatic transmission. Absolutely fantastic transmission. Just about everybody agrees, especially after they drive it, how nice that transmission shifts and is able to downshift and upshift very, very quickly. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. You have your door lock controls, power windows, and side mirror adjustments. Now the power windows are one touch down automatic, so push it one time, it'll go down. Going up, however, you do have to hold it. Now I think the reason why it only goes up to a certain level, because it's the type of door, when you close it, it still has to go up a little bit underneath that seal. I'm not sure exactly if that's the reason why, but that's just the way it is. So there's your threshold. Has a power seat, basically a combination of a power seat and manual. Has the manual tilt here for the back of the seat, and then the power on the rest. You also have a 4-way lumbar adjustment that's powered as well. Your headlight controls are right in here. You have automatic, off, parking light, and then turn on your headlights there. You see that spread. And then you can push it in here in the center to turn on your fog lights. Your dimmer switch for your interior gauges and your interior ambient lighting are right here. And then there's the button to pop the trunk. It also has a tilt and telescoping steering column with this little ambidextrous lever. You just release it like so, and you can tilt it, and then you can telescope it. And right when you get it in that position that you want, you just lock it in place. And check out this little extra nice touch here on the edge of the windshield. It has the little Challenger silhouette rounding the corner. It's looking pretty cool. Okay, let's take a look here on the inside. And plenty of leg room. That's one thing about a Challenger, is that if you're a kind of a taller guy or a bigger guy, the Challenger really gives you that extra room that you know, some other muscle cars, sports cars just can't deliver. So with the seat all the way back, I'm 6 feet tall, so with the seat all the way back, I'm too far back. I couldn't really drive the vehicle like this, so I have to put the seat up a little bit more. There's that much room here. And you know, of course, the telescoping steering wheel and everything, and also the seat goes up and down, so you can really get that perfect position. Also, your knee room is really fantastic, and it's soft here on the side of the console and soft right here. The only hard part is right here where the cup holder is, so sometimes your leg might touch that, but not very much, because you do have just so much room already. Okay, so let's start here on the steering wheel. It's a leather wrap steering wheel. You have little grip extenders here at the top, and it's a very good thickness. Thickness is really good because it doesn't, there's less pressure on your hand. So as you're gripping the steering wheel, it's not digging into your bones or whatever. It just gives you a really good grip, even if your hands aren't that big. But especially when your hands are big, to have that larger thickness. It's also soft to the touch as well. So the steering wheel has buttons on the back side as well as the front side. So here in the back there's paddle shifters, so we can change to the gears. You can turn these on and off in the settings, and you can there's a plus on this side, negative on that side. If you accidentally hit it and change the gear, it's not a big deal. There's 8 gear ratios to choose from. All you have to do is push and hold the plus, and it will go back into your normal drive position. Now just below that, there's these toggle switches, like a toggle and then a center portion. Here on the right side is your volume for your radio. So it's designed to where you're gripping the steering wheel like this, your back fingers are able to just perfectly line up with it. So I can adjust the volume, and then the center button changes my audio source. So I can cycle through USB, auxiliary, radio, different things like that by pushing that center button, and then the volume with the up and down. On the back of the steering wheel on the left side, you can change up and down change through the tracks, say depending on where you're at, or radio stations or whatever the case may be, by going up and down. And then the center button will cycle through your presets on your radio. So that way if you're on your radio and you have your presets set up, you can cycle through those, so that way you don't have to constantly, go through all the bad radio stations that you don't want to listen to, just to get to the ones that you want. Your cruise control is here on the right side, and it's really easy to use, especially considering you can set it with the plus or the minus. You don't have to just have one or the other. Just have one, so you can actually do it with either one. You do have to turn on the cruise control every time you enter the vehicle, so you have to make sure you turn it on. You'll have a little indicator here on the screen whether it's on or not. But other than that, once it's on, once you get in the vehicle and turn it on, then you can use it just fine. Okay, so here on the left side you have your voice recognition and also your Bluetooth controls for answering and hanging up. Now the voice recognition in this vehicle is pretty advanced. I mean, you can change radio stations, you can go to addresses on the navigation system, you can send calls, you can change the climate control. You could do all these things just by using your voice. So it's not just about using your voice to talk on your phone or whatever. It does have an advanced voice recognition system, very, very functional, which is kind of like once you get to use it and you get to learn how to use it properly, you can keep your hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, while doing all kinds of different things. Kind of like a safety feature in a way. Okay, so these buttons right here correspond with the screen between the gauges, which we'll get to in just a minute. So your turn signal also has your windshield wiper controls located there. Okay, so looking at the gauges, a little bit of a glare there. Let me see if I can adjust it. But check it out, it has that classic, concave style gauges. Sorry about the glare. See if I can get you a good view. But anyways, hopefully that you can see it right in here. You can see this kind of has that concave look and kind of dished out classic lettering and everything, and just a modern style as well. It's kind of like a mix-up of the classic and the modern style, with the red dialer on the outside, and then you have the white lettering popping through the black background. Really easy to see and read. Now the actual speedometer on this side, real fine numbers here, kind of blur together because it's not that precise. Good thing it has a digital speedometer here in the center. Okay, so speaking of that, you have a engine coolant temperature there on the left. You also have your fuel gauge and your gears here on the right side. And right now, these are customizable, but right now it has your range here on the top left and your outside temperature right here. In the very center is a digital speedometer. So this is part of a whole menu system. So as I use these buttons right here, I can cycle through. So let's go ahead and just check this out. So I'm going to just kind of scroll down so you can see that it's actually part of a menu system here. So the speedometer is first. Scroll down, it goes into your vehicle info. Now you notice these little bars right here will appear briefly. This is showing you can get some more information on this particular screen. So go up, go down, just to kind of show you. And now I scroll to the right. See, I have the tire pressure, coolant temperature, transmission temperature, oil pressure, oil life, battery voltage, air intake temperature, engine torque, engine power, and it goes back to your tire pressure. So isn't that pretty cool? Scrolling down again, this is your performance. So this is where you can go into your timer. So it has a 0 to 60 timer, 0 to 100. It has a reaction time, quarter-mile timer, braking distance, current G-forces, and the peak G-forces here, lap timer, lap history, top speed. I actually got in one and it said 170 some miles per hour. It's pretty amazing. And it goes back to your 0 to 60 miles per hour timer. Scrolling down, this is your fuel economy, so you have your average and your real time, also your range. Scrolling down again, you have your trip A and trip B. It tells you your time as well as your miles per gallon and distance traveled. Scrolling down again will show you what your radio is doing. Stored messages will show up here. Then it goes back to your, actually it goes to your setup. So let's go into that. There's a lot of stuff here. This is where you can go in and change the all the different settings here. Mostly changing whether you want to have the odometer there or these little portions here on the corners. You can change those, all that stuff. Now it finally goes back to the digital speedometer. So that gives you an idea of all the different things that you can actually get in that center screen. And that's just the center screen. That's not part of the Uconnect system, which we will check out now. So this has the 8.4 inch screen, the 8.4N navigation screen here, and the 17 models really did a step up with the clarity and the view. Resolution is what I'm trying to say. The resolution is just fantastic here, and there's just the layout and everything. It's basically the same layout as previous years as far as just physical layout, but just the contrast in colors, the clarity, the resolution, everything just looks so much better in the 2017 models. So simple as ever as far as navigating through. All your icons stay at the bottom. So we start here on the radio. So you have your presets there at the top. You can choose AM, FM, satellite radio, have information, album cover, all that stuff here in the center. You can go into, adjust your audio and all that stuff. It does also have a speed adjusted volume. Go into media. This is all your media sources. So it has 2 USB ports and auxiliary input, as well as the Bluetooth audio wirelessly through a device like your cell phone. Climate control. This is a dual zone climate control for your driver and passenger, where you want the air to blow, and different options there, as well as your front and rear defrosters. Your fan speed is on auto right now, but we can change it. We can manually adjust everything. Do all that number. Right now it's synced. I can unsync it, and I can adjust that one separately from this one, so this one will be separate from that one. The next icon will be your apps. So the apps in the 17 model is a little bit, this is something, newer. In the newer Uconnect screens have this kind of stuff. So right now it's showing your different options here as far as what you can go into, basically. So Travel Link is one of my favorite portions of this screen, or apps on the Uconnect system. So let's say I want to add that down here in the list of icons. So all we have to do is push it and hold it, and we can kind of just drag it down here and move it into there. So now we have the Travel Link here instead of the navigation. Now if I want to put the navigation back, I find the navigation, press and hold it, kind of drag it, put it back down there. I can also move it around on these particular screens too, customize it the way I want, just like I customize icons on my desktop or icons on my cell phone. And while we're talking about TravelLink, let's go ahead and go into it. If you're not familiar with it, it gives you a lot of information, especially while you're traveling. That's why I call it TravelLink. Fuel prices. This is really nice because you can find the nearest gas station. You can also sort it by brand. So if you're looking for a specific brand, gas station, distance, or if you really want to get the cheapest gas station, you can sort it by price. You can also change the fuel type. So regular, mid-range, premium, and also diesel. So if you're looking for a diesel in the diesel vehicles, that really comes in handy because not every gas station has diesel. You can also get weather, movie listings, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so continue on. We saw the apps here. And let's go to the navigation screen. So we can put in a specific address. Let's go right here, where to. We can put in an address, we can search, we can look for a specific intersection. We can have a whole list of favorites, places we go to all the time. We can save them in here. We can also just view the map, see where we're at. Kind of zoom out. We're in Vann, Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram here in Whiteville, North Carolina. And there's the ocean right there, so I'm kind of zooming out really far. And what's pretty cool is you can change the icon as well. And go to nav settings. Well, let's go see here. Map setup. Vehicle icon. Nope. Let's go to vehicle icon. Yeah, there we go. So we have the Challenger there. Jeep, Wrangler, Arrow, red arrow, yellow hexagon, Chrysler Heat 300, Dodge Charger, Charger SRT, and then we go back to the Challenger. And you notice it's in the red color, which is pretty cool. Alright. Let's go on to the phone. So we don't want to pair one right now, but once you pair it, you'll have access to your contacts, recent calls, a dial pad. You'll be able to have your favorites here at the very top, and you can also transfer it back to your cell phone. Say if you want to have a private call, so you can transfer it to your cell phone, so that way it's not playing the whole conversation over the speakers of the car in case there's other people in the car or whatever. And then you go into your settings, and there's tons of stuff in here. One of the things that I did on mine was to turn it off as far as the beeping when you lock the door in the first press. You can have it beep on the second press. You can also make it to where it will not beep when you do the remote start. So with the remote start, you can have it beep twice, then start up, or you can turn that off and just flash the lights, things like that. Also, how long the lights stay on after you lock the vehicle. Those are different things that you can go in there and set up if you want to. All right. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the navigation, the whole system here, the Uconnect screen. It's very functional and easy to use once you get accustomed to where you want to go and what your typical stuff that you adjust. All right. So in addition to the the volumes on the steering wheel, you also have the volume knob here, traditional volume knob tuned through the stations. Those are pretty traditional, everybody's accustomed to those. Four-way flashers, you also have the ability to mute the radio, turn the screen off. So if you turn the screen off if it's just distracting you or whatever, you simply just touch the screen to turn it back on. And then your parking sensors you can turn off if you want to, on and off. So there's on, or there's off I mean, and there's on. Traction control is default on, you can turn it off here. You can also turn on sport mode, so that'll emphasize performance of the vehicle over fuel economy, so it will reduce your fuel economy, but it'll give you the higher performance level, holding those transmission shifts and such. Also, it will you can also adjust the steering stiffness, which we'll get to in just a second. Right now, Super Track Pack. This is an additional feature this vehicle has. Let's go ahead and push that. And it brings us up to here. So we can, when we push the sport mode, we can customize it, what happens. So we go to sport mode setup. We can have the engine transmission to sport or normal, paddle shifters on or off, traction control to sport or normal, and then the steering we can have sport, normal, or comfort. Comfort is where you really easy to turn, and then up to sport will be stiffer. You also have a launch control, which you can activate. I think you have to have 500 miles or something on the vehicle before you can activate it, but you can actually set up the launch control at different RPM ranges before to actually launch the vehicle, which is pretty neat. I've never actually tried that, but I would like to try it one day. You can also go into those same Super Track Pack here on the apps, right here in the performance control. Okay, so there's additional buttons for your climate control, so you don't always have to go into the screen. You have your front and rear defrosters, your temperatures for your driver and your passenger. Your fan speed is this big dial. You can go push in your automatic and automatically adjust everything for you. And then you can turn it off, of course. And then your AC and recirculate the arrows on that side. Little storage pocket right in here. Now this is pretty handy for what I do is take the phone and prop it up in this little spot. And then that way I can charge it using this charger, or I can run a charger out of the console to it, which we'll get to in a minute. I'll show you what's in there. But first, let's look at the shifter. So it has like this little portion, kind of like a leather portion here, or vinyl, I'm not sure. But it has like this T-handle type feel, and you push it right here, put it in reverse. Check out the backup camera. Pops up. Active guidelines. Also, you have the parking sensors are now active, and it will give you a visual reference here if you get close to something. So not only will it beep, give you like this beep warning sound, but it'll show you where the actual threat is as far as like getting close to something. Neutral. There's drive. This is your normal drive position. If you want to manually change the gears and you don't want to use the paddle shifters, you can pull it here to the left and it'll turn into a ratchet shifter. So now I can manually cycle through the gears simply by bumping it like so. I can always at any time slide it to the right, it goes back into the normal drive position. There's the cup holders. It does have the little ambient light around the cup holders at nighttime. When you put a bottle of water in there, it kind of illuminates it, which looks pretty cool. Okay, so here's your armrest, and it's very soft and comfortable, and has a stitching here, and is slightly wide enough to share with your passenger, I guess, depending on how generous you are. But it lifts up like so. You have the Dodge Brothers little emblem there. Now this is all felt lined in here, and it has a 12-volt power supply. Now this 12-volt power supply, you notice it has a battery on it because it is connected directly to the battery, so you do not have to have the vehicle turned on to use it. It will stay powered all the time. Also, you have 2 USB ports and auxiliary input. If you're familiar with the 2016 and older models, they only had 1 USB and an SD card input. Now you'll notice it has 2 USBs, and they did away with the SD card. Okay, so the rear view mirror has the, it's an auto dim rear view mirror, so it automatically dims, auto dim, and you can turn that feature off in the settings if you want to. You also have roadside assistance and emergency buttons here on the bottom. Now this vehicle has its own cellular connection, so you can actually call for assistance, the roadside assistance, even if your cell phone battery is dead or whatever, if you don't have a cell phone with you. As long as you have cell signal from a tower, you're able to call roadside assistance through the system of the vehicle. The HomeLink garage door opener controls are here. You have some tap lights and a place to put your shades, and it has a like a foam material on the inside. Now the visors have mirrors and lights. They also slide out, and you have this little portion here to help block the sun. Okay, so let's look at the visibility in the back. So you notice the pillars in the back are quite significant. Now when you're on the highway and you're changing lanes, not a big deal, because you can you know, adjust your mirrors appropriately and, you know, look over your shoulder and you kind of see. But backing out of a parking space sometimes is a little bit of an issue. But this vehicle has the rear cross path detector system, so that way as you're backing out, if you don't see a car but the system detects the car, you'll be still covered, which is nice. So you can see, you know, this is just like the 1971, has that same blind spot basically, because it has such a large pillar there in the back. Okay, last but not least, let's look at the window sticker. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this vehicle is a RT, but it has some additional packages. So the way that Dodge window stickers are, you have your basic information as far as your base price, your colors, the you know, engine, transmission, all that stuff. Then it goes into your standard equipment. So your standard equipment is listed here. And then interior features. Of course, you're going to have to use the pause button if you want to read every detail. Exterior features. And then it goes into your optional. Now this vehicle, sometimes the optional will be on the other side, you know, depending on how much stuff the vehicle has, but the optional equipment starts here with the RT package, and, you know, has the 5.7 HEMI, the spoiler, the sound group, 276 watt amplifier, so I was right on that, that's cool. And the driver's convenience group. Now you notice these little prices here. These are additional options that are added to the vehicle. Okay, so this one has the HID headlamps, blind spot and rear cross path detectors, remote start system, universal garage door opener controls. And then the Super Track pack includes the 20-inch hyper black aluminum wheels, the tires, and of course the, you know, additional information there on the screen, adjustments and everything, and the ParkSense rear parking system, the backup camera, a bunch of stuff there. And then the automatic transmission, you can see that's an option. Has a conventional differential rear axle, compact spare tire, that's an option on this vehicle. You can see it has a price there. And then it has the Uconnect system. Now this is the Uconnect 4C navigation. Has Apple CarPlay capable, Android Auto capable, which I didn't demonstrate because I don't have a cell phone plugged in. It does have to be physically plugged in. Now that would explain why they have two USB ports, one for that and another USB port for additional songs or whatever. Then you have your GPS navigation, HD radio, and all that stuff. Also, I want to mention this vehicle has the MDS. This is an option that you can get with the automatic transmission only. It's the media multi-displacement system, so it can cut back to 4 cylinders when the vehicle doesn't have to have all 8-cylinder power as you're driving. So that's what that means. And it also has VVT as well, variable valve timing, which kind of helps you, gives you better gas mileage. So you can see for a vehicle that's, you know, 375 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque, and you can cruise on the highway and get 25, and sometimes better actually on a lot of times depending on how you drive. But you can get really good gas mileage for the amount of power in reserve that you actually have. So anyways, like I mentioned, pause button on that if you want to read it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Vann, Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram here in Whiteville, North Carolina for allowing me to show off another awesome vehicle. And I'll see you guys next time.